and not about, increasing the conceptual mind.
Yeah. There we go.
And suddenly you're free.
I don't feel free.
How will we know if we're at any given point?
Well, the first bhumi, it's continuous joy. So if you're not experiencing continuous joy, you're not in the first bhumi.
Oh my God! So that might take me 100 million lifetimes.
All right. Well, wait a minute, Frank. Okay, that's really an interesting thing because I've met far more people now that have been like Lopan Rinpoche out in Colorado. He is an awake, enlightened human being, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not in joy all the time. He has kids. He's just like, I remember one time talking to him. He's just like, especially Henry. He's like, so why did we get married? He's like, look, it's too late for us. It's too late for us. We're householders. We cannot go into a cave. It's not going to work.
The first bhumi is a profound realization.
I know.
It's not something that passes away. And up until then, people can have all sorts of valid insights, but if not supported by practice, they can basically fade. I mean, in a sense, they don't fade, but if you're not abiding in that,
I think, Frank, I think fade is perfect. I think it does go away. If you're not continuously reinforcing that 100%. You're so nice to even use the word like that was so nice. It's perfectly correct. Yeah, I think you're totally right. It can go away. Because what I understand from the sutras, it happens once per mind stream. From the beginning of the beginning of mind stream to the end, you have direct perception happens once.
Yeah.
And then that kind of thing, and there's things that come up to that, and then afterwards. But continuous joy, is that because of the practice you continue because the dedication is there? I mean, I'm not. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting anything like you can
Is there a Tara text wrong? Show me the
yeah.
Tara text. Is there something in there that's appropriate?
Sure.
I think.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, I'm often struck by this one modern Vietnamese master said that was just talking about entering the path, and he said that the joy that's experienced on entering the path can be akin to the joy experienced on the first bhumi, but if not to the sort of the depth of the comprehensive quality of the first bhumi, if it's a shallower thing, that the importance of continued practice and study and training is that what happens is that someone will see some imperfection in a monk or a nun, he said, but of course it can be a layperson too. You see some bad behavior or something that you think is bad behavior, and then people can even abandon. So I think one of the just unbelievable things about Dharma that's often not really appreciated is the fact that it has a structure for delusional beings and even beings who are on the path. It's totally supportive, but you can see how important faith is and confidence, because there's those different levels of faith. The final one is unshakable faith. It doesn't matter what's happening, because you see it as samsaric, and in comparison to the qualities of your true nature, it's just like a
Crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, even it's like like a feather in a hurricane or something. It's just, again, you think about that tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia. What was it, 20 years ago now?
Yeah.
But again, compared to the depths of the Marianas Trench, it's like a wave in a bathtub. It's really nothing in comparison. But that's not to deny the suffering and all of that. But my point is that if you really have even a taste of the 7 miles of still water, you're seeing things in proper perspective, because that's what we don't do. We don't see things in proper perspective. We're seeing everything through the lens of ego attachment. So, I mean, think about it. Someone says some really minor thing and it throws off your whole day.
Oh, you're like, you stole my car. I'm like, I stole your car. Yeah,
Right.
Of course. Yeah, I'm always there.
Yeah.
That's me.
Or even just
Sorry,
minor
sorry.
things like, some backhanded, disrespect or
I'm like all day
whatever.
long on YouTube.
And, it throws us because we truly make mountains out of what are truly molehills. In fact, they're not even molehills. They don't really exist. We're giving all this stuff an existence that has the ability to ruin our life. I mean, it's really sad what we do. So I think it's such an incredible thing that there's a structure and a path. But of course, that's not a blind thing, like because all religions, in a sense, can have a blind path. Just do this, unthinking. No, it's completely involved, questioning, even doubting, but engaged. And why? I just think the First Noble Truth is just such genius. There's nothing like it because for me, it's like, what's the alternative? I mean, all right, if you have confidence in the First Noble Truth, if your life experience has shown that, and of course, anyone's examined life experience will show that, because even the greatest happiness, the next thing you know, you're trying to protect it, it's gone. It in itself becomes a cause of anxiety. And so then you realize, well, there's nothing wrong with that blissful feeling, but it's my attachment to it. So you get into it, this ego clinging that we do. Is there an ego? You start looking. They have all that structure for us to investigate that. So it just strikes me how wonderful that is, that there's actually a supportive structure. And of course, it can be very simple. I mean, that's the wonderful thing. You meet someone like Gar Rinpoche, and in a sense, he's like the result of all the teaching. So in a way, I'm not saying something wrong, but you don't even need the teachings. If you're happy because of previous experience, I do believe of working through it, so to speak, that you can have that kind of rock solid confidence. In a sense, it becomes very simple. But for us, one of the challenges in people walking in the door here, hey, welcome to 84,000 different methods. And people sometimes don't see the forest for the trees. Is that what they say? Trees for the forest? No, the forest for the trees.
Frank, because the way I interpreted the continuous joy when you were saying it was, okay, so this is what I understand. Please correct me if I'm wrong. After the direct perception of emptiness, the direct perception of the divine, that unconscious, non-elaborated, experience, only two things change. One, that you realize that you've seen the world and you still do when you come out of it incorrectly, that you're experiencing as objects outside yourself actually truly exist. And number two is that you have complete and utter faith and confidence in the path and what the Buddha said. So maybe instead of just continuous joy, could it just be total rock solid confidence and faith in the path you're on?
No, it's continuous joy.
Okay. All right, there we go. Wow.
That's the first booming. And look, you can have a direct perception of emptiness that is not the first on the level of the first booming.
Oh, okay. So that's the difference between arhats and arhatis, or no?
No, actually, an arhat can be more deeply enlightened than a bodhisattva up until the seventh booming.
Okay, right. When they're the solitary realizer.
Yeah, so that's why you can never be arrogant about the arhat. Yeah.
Arya and arhat's different. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Frank told me not to memorize any of this.
No.
Years ago, so I don't remember a lot.
Because truthfully, even a valid insight, I mean, in a sense, it is an insight into emptiness, but it isn't necessarily perceived or understood as that. People can just have, like a naked experience. But without any kind of support for it, it can just be something that just passes or isn't even recognized. That's the thing. This is the great thing about teachers, teachings. You can say, "Oh yes, that's good. Now forget about it," or no, that's just some drama that you're having with your own mind. So this is what's so helpful, because we're like a little chick being born in a nest. You need the protection of the Dharma, basically, and the active quality. All you really need is that devotion, that confidence, but that's not necessarily there, especially in our culture. I mean, I'm amazed looking around, talking to Gretchen this week, and and then talking with Shuravka last week, and other activities going on around the country, and I see so many of Garvin's students doing so much wonderful work. But what I notice is that you see really tremendous things happening with Asian folks, because I think they have a natural kind of confidence culturally, that whereas all of us, at least speaking for myself, you were trying to figure it out. Is this valid? Is this not? Is this just, I mean, we have in the West, for instance, I think we've been in sort of a crisis for the last even 10 years, because a lot of our stuff, if you look at it, like my own experience, my own introduction comes out of where the beatniks, first of all.
Oh, Jack Kerouac and those guys kind of thing.
And then after that, the counterculture of the 60s.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of self-grasping and all of that that's like mixed in there. And then people often got into Buddhism, who knows for what reasons, I can't judge. But I'm just saying there are a lot of things that are mixed in there. And when there's something in the Dharma that doesn't fit with their hippie idea, it can be a crisis for people. And so one thing that's so wonderful is that, when you do have this kind of supportive stuff, and that's why I think the conventional, the relative path is so important, because you can think about it. You can work on it like we work on things right here as human beings. You don't have to hope for some sort of absolute kind of, bolt out of the blue hitting you, and that you don't have to sort of think about it. I mean, that's the amazing thing to me about the non-two-ness of it, because we can use all this stuff. It's not a rejection of our perceptions. It's not a rejection of our emotions, but it's seeing them properly and therefore using them. And truly a miracle, truly, but it's all right there. And I just think with the First Noble Truth, it just starts in such a common sense. I mean, everything that happens in this world is people trying to deal with dissatisfaction or suffering. The whole thing is just spinning around that. That's like, the key. And so then you wonder, what is the source of this dissatisfaction? If I can't get away from this, can I get away from this dissatisfaction? I mean, really, what is the deal? That's the fundamental question. All the people that I see, all of us, and all our work every day, they're all, in one way or another, running away from suffering or running after happiness, one thing or the other. That's the key thing. Even the criminals that I deal with, it's funny. It's the same. It's the same thing. They're trying to be happy, and they do it in stupid ways, or even just, impulsiveness kind of thing. You get stopped by a policeman, and they just do some big reaction, and it could be a really decent kid, but just his emotions are out of control. So this is truly amazing, and also the gradual unveiling, so to speak, of the path, and the gradual presentation of the path. You can read it, and you start to get, it builds your confidence, because it's not denying the evidence of your mind, and you can work, and you can see the benefit, and you can start to have tremendous confidence in cause and effect. We just see this all the time in the greater world. People are wanting all these things, but no one is interested in the cause. They don't even think about a cause. I just want this. And then they're always disappointed because they didn't get it. And then what do? They blame someone else. So there's a big enemy out there that if they just weren't there, all this would be, it's just it's such a stupidity, really. But it's just ignorance. It's just ignoring. It's just ignoring who and what we truly are, because we don't know. But the confidence that there is something, so to speak, there is something with the qualities that they tell us, of the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. Sounds very esoteric. But when you just talk about vastness without limit, and then you talk about clarity, and you talk about, best thing we can say about it is just incredible compassion, but objectless compassion. a state of compassion, not someone making a big deal out of their emotionality and trying everyone to think, oh, how compassionate I am. It's just so completely pure. And of course, we have that. We have that right now, but we just continue to not have faith in it. So we do everything else to make it better. See if I can find this one.
Well, Frank, amazing focus. I've forgotten all about that.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, here it is. In Tara's prayer, I open to it. Although we have dwelt in the ultimate truth, we are unaware of the interdependence of cause and effect. Thus, we are blind to the meaning of what is to be known. Omniscient Mother Goddess, please protect us. So that's it. One can actually one can dwell in the ultimate truth, either by just immersing oneself in all the teachings and just, going through the whole process, or one can actually experience, the ultimate truth. And for one time or another, to dwell in it for one length of a time or another. You read about different experiences, but it can just be a very timeless kind of flash. You don't really know how much time has passed. But with the support of the lamas, the validation of that, the validation in the teachings, because you can read about it yourself. You can have an experience and it takes you, 5 years before you get in front of the lama to ask the question. But you can have faith that just reading all these texts with that kind of confidence and motivation, you're dwelling in the ultimate truth, even though it's appearing in a conventional relative way. Truly, I think Nagarjuna said that, we come to the ultimate, we come to the absolute by way of the conventional, by way of the relative. That's so mind-boggling that it's all right here for us, right now. Conventional, relative, all of that. You don't have to gain anything. But, yeah.
Is it that we're stripping away the layers to get to the raw wood so that we can get to the point of being open to seeing having the correct awareness?
Yeah, they sometimes talk like that, but it's more just a direct insight. It's just letting the afflictions go still. And that is not easy to do. I can sit here and be quiet, and it's like the Christian Blaise Pascal. So definitely one of the smartest people in Western history. He thought up probability, and that's pretty good. The 1600s. Yeah. And he said that something like, I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's like almost like 95% of all the suffering in the world comes from not being able to sit still in your own room. It's very Buddhist. So that's the thing. I say, okay, I'm going to sit here right now and calm my emotions, right? It doesn't work that way. And then the next thing you know, you're saying, my emotions calm now. Oh, I'm calm. But of course, that's an emotion too. Thinking. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like telling the kid having a tantrum to calm down. How well does that work? So we don't have the methods, but this is the incredible gift of the Dharma. Because, certainly the tantric path, you got the method, but it's not by thinking I'm going to make it work. It's like when you forget about trying to make it work and you are Tara, suddenly there's no problem. But of course, that can take 20 years because we're all wired to, I'm going to make it work, and the path itself, all the teachings on practices and everything, we have to get into it that way. There's nothing wrong about that. We have to sort of take up the burden and do the work, but at the same time, it's still supporting that habit that we've had for lifetimes. So I'm going to make it work. It's the I in there that's really the trouble. How do you quiet that I? Those I don't even know. I don't think we even have to go there and give different aspects. It's just that fundamental clinging to an idea, something that's not there. So it's a real big a problem we have. But the good thing is that these practices are time tested. It's just so wonderful because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But of course, it has to be confidence in it. How do you get confidence? Well, you get confidence by doing it. And then you see, oh, this is better for me. Or you see some time when you're not freaking out over something that would have made you freak out, because lo and behold, there's actually some patience there. Now, patience is not forcing yourself to be patient. I mean, that the beginning of it, so to speak. But when you shock yourself at your patience that you didn't know you had, it's like that, because it's just the quality of your mind. Or someone else who's maybe close to you would say, oh, you were really patient there. You realize, I didn't think I was patient. I wasn't thinking like that at all. So you start to see the results of the practice, even without your intention. I had one little experience like that. Really nothing profound, but it was very revealing to me, that first time practicing with Lama Tarchin out in Ati Ling, outside of Napa Valley. And you've heard me tell this story before, so forgive me. But, after, I think it was 2 weeks of Vajrakalaya, we were going to go to a laundromat. So they gather all the laundry for people, and we're going to go into the laundromat in Napa itself, which was a drive down this winding hills in these California, coastal range. And this woman named Suzanne, who was his administrator at the time, was driving this pickup truck, and I was in the back of the pickup truck with, all the laundry, dirty laundry. And Suzanne's driving like at 15 miles an hour, after two weeks of this meditation, and she's just driving around. And behind us is this muscle car, the two teenage young guys, and they were wanting to get about it, but it was so they go out, and then they had to go back because there wasn't room to pass, and they were getting really frustrated, and I was just sitting back there just watching them, and then finally there was a little opening, and they just went around to the left and roared, and as they were going by, they flipped me the bird. But instead of my usual reaction, what would Frank do? Oh, I'm going to be tolerant, or I'm going to let him have it. Whatever it is, all the Frank stuff for a moment wasn't there. And instead, after 2 weeks of Vajrakalaya, I just waved at him. I was like happy to have like contact or something. I don't know what. And I was just waving like this. And the guy was going, he waved back. So that was very inspirational to me, because I didn't do anything, and yet there was a big positive effect that, because I was there, happened. It happened despite me. And you don't have to manufacture it. I didn't have the idea to do that. I didn't have the idea. Wouldn't that be a bodhisattva-like thing to do? There wasn't any of that. It was just simply, but a natural reaction.
So Frank, is that from the practice where it's allowing you to be more present or mindful of the present moment, thinking about what's actually happening around you instead of just thinking the past or the future, but actually just experiencing the now?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Is that measurable, spontaneous joy?
An aspect of it for sure. Because if you think, what I just done 10 days, 2 weeks, I don't know what it was, of imagining myself to be Vajrakalaya. So even in just pretending, at least you're not pretending to be Frank anymore. Frank pretending to be Vajrakalaya is better than Frank being Frank 110%. I think I should make myself more Frank. That's our samsaric way. I'm going to make it better because Frank's going to conquer the world. I mean, this is our unthought of motivation is just there, and it's all about me. It's my truth, and get out of my cloud. And underneath all the nice social niceties and surface, there's all that stuff lurking. But with Vajrakalaya, you can't do that, So it's extremely skillful. But of course, it's, not just making it up yourself. It's this blessing. It's this empowerment. You had a lama there who had this whole mandala going. But that's the kind of thing that the experience we've all had, where you suddenly see the validation of the teachings, the validation of what you're doing. And so then, you just keep on going, but with this open, experiential kind of mind, but accomplishing mind. Sometimes there's so much in America, so people who are spiritual seekers, it's not as bad as it used to be. But everybody was a spiritual seeker, and there was great pride in that. I'm a spiritual seeker. And one teacher said, why don't you become a spiritual finder? And that's the greatness. Yeah.
So, Frank, was it just totally awesome to be in the back of the pickup going through, California and going down these beautiful mountainous coastal hills? Something that my children won't ever experience. I got to do that because my father didn't care about the law or my life, apparently. But, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Were you sitting on the laundry?
I think I'm sure I wasn't standing, so I must have been sitting on laundry. Yeah. I just remember those kids. There's nothing more powerful than that in the world, though, when you think about it. I think of all the people that I deal with who, they get them into anger management or one thing or another. And, those are all good attempts, and I'm sure there's some benefit that happens there. But that fundamental, just like, oh my goodness, suddenly, the spontaneity of it, the limitlessness of it, we're really, really, really fortunate. So we were going out Tuesday. Was it Tuesday night? I think. Yeah, after Tuesday night, I was putting my shoes on, and David just gotten his shoes on. Keen was putting his shoes on, and the two of them were having a conversation. And I can't even remember what triggered it, but Dave at one point said he remembered when Diana Ross came down to the Finger Lakes. What do they call that place?
Seaman.
Yeah.
Finger Lakes Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's the old name.
So he was talking about years ago when Diana Ross showed it, and so the cars were backed up all the way to the freeway, to the thruway. And I thought to myself, I had the thought when you said that, Dave, it just occurred to me. I just think, Garbage comes here, we get 100 people, and we go, yeah.
You got a woman who's talking about dancing disco and having carnal relations with people, and on dance floors, wherever it was, and people can't wait to go.
It's just, I don't know. This last few years has been kind of, humbling or revealing or something, because when I came across Dharma, it was so, well, especially with the Mahayana, it was just so like, wow, there is an answer. There just is an answer. And I may be stumbling around the dark, but it's so different being in the dark and knowing that there's a way out of the cave, as opposed to just totally being in the dark and you don't even know there's a way out of the cave, just like total disaster. And that natural enthusiasm that comes up, and you just think all you have to do is just sort of show this to other people somehow. And they're going to go, damn, that's good. Like here's a $10,000 million coin. Would you like it? Whoa, it's easy.
And lied so much people believing it, nothing.
And you find out it's not that way. People have all certain, you don't know somebody else's motivation. Garbage does. I honestly believe that. But the rest of us, we don't know. We don't know. We're also good at human beings as being fakers. Oh, really? No, I didn't know that. I have to find it. So, suddenly those examples that Patra Rinpoche gave, he says, like precious human life, it's like throwing a handful of dried seeds on the side of a wooden barn, the number that stick, or stars shining in the day, in the daylight. It's just very rare. And then you start to really more deeply appreciate what we have here. And you see it. I just think the Garinpoche, I just can't believe it. What we've been through here, even difficulties that we've made for him inadvertently, but also, we're not part of his organization. And the support, the spiritual support, but even material support. But it's just truly, yeah, it's just truly very rare. That's all. Yeah, yeah. So Gretchen and I were doing our circumambulation of Lake Ontario
So you went clockwise?
last week. We did. We went clockwise. We had the thought of sort of backtracking. We were going to see Juravka in Toronto or in Mississauga. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. We had the thought of like either going farther up in Lake Huron or turning around and going to Niagara on the Lake and just sort of staying there for a long weekend because it's so kind of delightful. But for some reason, we plodded on eastward, and it was just. It was a beautiful driving day, and we were taking smaller roads, and the colors were so great, And our first night was in what's the name? Oshawa, which was way back when, just a fur trading post, and I can't. Eventually, they tried to incorporate it into a town, or not even that far, but into a settlement with a name, and there was some French Canadian fur trader named Shea or something, and he had to petition the government to name this place like Shea's Town. They wouldn't let him name it after himself, and instead, some government committee knew that the Indian name for the place, whatever that is, Oshawa, yeah, meant the place where we put the canoe down and start walking.
There you go.
That's hilarious.
So they named it that.
Wow, that's so funny.
So we were there one night, and then we went further, and we went to Kingston, which is on almost not completely. That's right, from Rochester.
Oh, wow, 46
Yeah.
kilometers.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that where the hovercraft used to go?
Went to Toronto. But so, if you stand in Durand Eastman Beach and just look straight out, right angle, you will, off in the distance, if you had pure vision, you would see Oshawa. Oshawa. I can't say that name. So then we drove farther to Kingston. Kingston is almost on the eastern end, but a little bit, not quite before you get there. And Kingstown, it was the capital of Canada. I didn't even know that. Talking to Roberta and Michael today, they said, well, yeah, it was. And then they had some concerns, so they moved it a little bit farther west to Ottawa. North to Ottawa, yeah. Kingston, yeah. So that was fun. And then, was it going to Kingston or after Kingston? Yeah, it was after Kingston. The Loyalist Highway. Because with the American Revolution, you never hear about these guys. But the ones that stayed loyal to the king, I think we were very nice to them. So a lot of them moved to Canada. And they have this old Loyalist Highway. They've got Loyalist cemeteries and all sorts of historical stuff. And sometimes some of these people had little plaques like on their mailbox. So I wonder if they're like descendants or something. Yeah, it was kind of cool. And from there to Thousand Islands, which, I had heard about but had never seen. Then took this tremendous bridge, turns into US 81 on our side. Yeah, Alexander Bay Bridge was built by FDR and the Canadians together. They brought all these Mohawks down to do the steel work on this thing, just like they did in the Empire State Building too. Series of big bridges, and then from there We went to Sackett's Harbor, which I had never been to.
You guys didn't go to the Alex Bay go-karts?
No, we did not. We missed the go-karts. It was kind of nice too because it wasn't tacky. That was the other thing I noticed. It wasn't tacky up there. It was just very, very nice. And Sackett's Harbor, you hear all these things. That's where the American fleet was, the Great Lakes fleet anyway, during the War of 1812. And I thought, well, this is going to be something. And the British, of course, tried to take it, but they got repulsed. But when we went there, it's this little dinky town, this little dinky harbor. I mean, it's like, big battle, 10 people died. I mean, sorry they died, but it was the scale of it is so small. And I think, but we learned something that the Brits actually, the reason we started the War of 1812 is because Britain was tied up with Napoleon on the continent. So we thought they were kind of vulnerable. We could grab some of Canada. And so all the stuff that was happening in Lake Ontario was just kind of like, British ships just kind of making trouble for us, very low scale, but cool.
Well, the path is a journey.
The path is a journey, yes. So anyway, good to be back. I was getting to what, since we weren't here on Sunday, that's what triggered all of this. We didn't hear what Kempo taught. And one top of the mind, any questions on how far we've gotten into jewel ornament so far?
But some people don't have YouTube.
No, Gretchen doesn't tell me for sure. Yep. Offering YouTube. Yep. But I've been experiencing, when you take a couple of days off, you're punished when you come back with work.
The best thing I have from notes from the book is the homage offering for auspicious outcomes writing the book. Last notes. Well, maybe I missed notes or something. That could happen.
Yeah, the jewel ornament. I left my book at home. Grabbed the wrong book. Isn't that good?
I found one in there. I was using.
Oh.
I forgot mine too.
Thank you. Got it. Yeah. When I was talking to Kempo about the jewel ornament, the first day that he taught, I was driving him back to where he's staying, and he was talking about, if I can remember it, the long name, Chandra, it's moon, Kumara, I think. Gampopa's previous existence. He was, I don't know if he was a monk, but anyway, he was a devotee of Buddha Shakyamuni. And he was the one who requested something from the Buddha, which caused the Buddha to give the Samadhi Raja Sutra, which is one of the one of the Buddha nature sutras. So that was kind of his background. And then, of course, with the jewel ornament. Yeah. Prabhara Kumara. You got it? 305. Okay.
We used to know that name.
Yeah, right.
It's
Chandra.
the order of the story.
Yeah, Chandra means moon. Yeah. Yeah, so this is from Jigten Sumgun. The Buddha predicted your coming in this age. He's speaking of Gampopa. You accomplished all the intentions of the Buddha. Great being, you spontaneously attained the body. I prostrate to peerless Gampopa. And then, yeah, this is the story. Where'd you find it, Gretch?
It's on the next page. The verse down at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, in the King of Meditative Absorption Sutra. Yeah, Samadhi Raja. Buddha Shakyamuni said, I was that king, Pawai Jin. You, Bodhisattva Chandra Prabhava Kumara, were Mentok Deze. That's Tibetan. Mentok is flower, which made Chandra Prabhava Kumara very happy. He later reincarnated in Tibet as Dharma Lord Gampopa, also known as the physician. Dharma Lord Gampopa himself said to the three yogins from Kham, when I had the name Chandra Prabhava Kumara, during the time of the perfect Buddha, exalted Lord Shakyamuni gave the teachings of the King of Meditative Absorption Sutra at my request. Wow. Then it says here in Kenshin's book, it is a great bodhisattva who remembers his previous limitless lifetimes. And then in the White Lotus of Compassion Sutra, the Buddha also foretold of Lord Gampopa in this way. And Buddha said, Ananda, after I pass away, in the future there will appear on the northern side the bhikshu physician, who has previously been of service to many Buddhas. He has respected and honored many Buddhas, developed root virtue, developed altruistic thought, perfectly entered into the Mahayana path, and worked for the benefit and happiness of many sentient beings. He is a learned scholar who practices the Bodhisattva scripture, praises the Mahayana, and perfectly teaches the Mahayana path to others, and so forth. And again he said, Ananda, this physician monk will cause my teachings to flourish widely. Don't mourn and don't lament. Yeah. And then one more from the great translator Marpa said this to Milarepa, a chick born to the vulture is a sign of the appearance of an unparalleled disciple. The whole space filling with birds is a sign of the flourishing of the Kagyupa lineage. And thus was foretold the coming, the Dharma Lord Gampopa, all his disciples and his lineage. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yep.
These were too far. I think it would fall on my head.
Yeah, it's a pretty wonderful. Very wonderful. It's just such a classic text. It's one of those texts that's, revered outside of Tibet too. And I think it was Chogyam Trungpa who said that one of the kind of qualities of the text, or actually a benefit of the text, for us, is that it's on the sutra, so it stays away from a lot of the stuff in the tantra that can easily confuse people, and so it has the effect of grounding you in really loving kindness and compassion, but also stages of the path and all sorts of things. So it's a very, very beneficial text. We're just very happy that Kempo agreed to teach it. It's going to go on for a while, I'm sure, because it's such an extensive text, and the way he's doing it is kind of classical, almost syllable by syllable, which is great, but we might be looking at 10-year teaching.
He's gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The quintessential non-wizard took us 2 years.
Yeah, right. That's right.
And that's just figuring out a way to get him to teach a lot.
Right.
You could be here anytime.
Yeah. See if I have anything on Gampopa here.
We can argue again.
That's another beefy thing. Oh, wait, I remember Kunga said, no books from Gunther or Conte.
Poor Kunga.
He
Right.
doesn't like her. He didn't like her.
No, it wasn't that she didn't like it. They were the hardest ones to read.
It wasn't her style,
Oh,
for sure.
It's not a lot of people's style, really. But
oh, I do remember reading it. I was just like, I would go. It took me a whole day just to think about the page I'd read.
Yeah, right.
one
Right.
thing-
But you know
one-
what, though? What was amazing was you told me just to relax. And as my mind opened, it was literally the only thing that happened suddenly I was understanding more and more and more, and then it just all suddenly made flat sense, and it just flowed.
Uh-huh.
Not even kidding. It was amazing, and I didn't change much. I just let go of things.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty wild. I'm not sure if it's just solidification or something like that,
Uh-huh.
or all of the ducks got in a row, the planets aligned, something.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the big book on good?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. The book.
The book on that's that I can't remember because we always have that one.
Well, he had the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, right? Was his translation.
Oh, he
Yeah.
translated it.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is.
I remember we did that. We did that
Yeah.
study group for that one.
Yeah, right. I think it's 1969,
I've been displaced a little bit.
maybe 1969 that is. I mean, again, let's see what you can see, Pat.
Original 1959.
59. Wow.
That was the first.
Yeah.
This
That's amazing.
was 71.
No, that's what I was trying to get. The 1959, I was,
Hold that up. That's a great book.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same book. It's a different translation.
Yeah, it's just a different translation. So I always kind of like that too, comparing two. If you have two good translations, yeah, it's fun to go back and
I
forth.
think that was one of the first study groups. That we
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, even in the introduction is interesting because Gunther, brilliant man. And he was working largely with Daisheng Rinpoche, a great Sakya scholar in Seattle or Vancouver. I can't remember which. But he had an example in the beginning. I can't remember which verse it was. He was talking about it. Oh, in their very first verse of the youthful Manjushri, or the first verse that starts out the whole text. And his take on it was he had a little explanation of how a Tibetan would hear this, for instance. But what was interesting is that Kempo gave a different kind of explanation of it. And so that's what I find is very helpful because it's not that Gunther was wrong, but with Kempo, we're seeing the traditional, how they approach it. And I like that. Yeah, like that a lot. But still, 1959, I mean, that's when Dalai Lama fled. It's a long time ago.
Or, and where was he living?
Gunther?
Was he here?
Um,
Or was he-
I think he was in Seattle. He had a position at the University of Washington.
It's amazing people were doing it, here back then.
Yeah.
Back then.
No, it's very pioneering kind of work, but more than pioneering, it's very accomplished. Also, it's remarkable. And again, with my kind of naivete, you think, especially in academia, you think they would come across a book like this and just be moved by the power of its thought. And that would be something. But it's like Kanzi says somewhere, we live in this realm. He's writing in 1964 here and saying that, we live in a time when oceans, I think he said, of academic ink have been spilled on investigating all the really obscure kind of cultures of people in the rainforest, people in the depths of South America, people living in the Arctic, all these very tiny kind of cultures, but being thoroughly investigated by academia, and yet somehow he can't get the philosophy departments, for interest, to be interested in Nagarjuna.
Which blows me out of the water, by the way.
Yes.
Arkin made like Einstein look like an idiot. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Einstein may have been a Buddhist.
Who knows? But it's such on another level. that
Yeah.
You can't even. It's mind blowing.
It's really
Mind-blowing.
something, and it just seems so perfect for like a philosophy department.
Yeah, of course.
But
It's been like,
it just shows you,
second Buddha, basically.
yeah, obscurations, karma. I mean, it's just really, you understand why the Buddha hesitated to teach. It's just the dust is very thick over our eyes, and it doesn't take much to obscure your vision. Yeah, it's very humbling. Very humbling. Okay. Yeah, so anything else from anyone else tonight? We had kind of a fun kind of time back. our,
They usually have
our friendly little coffee clutch.
Hat, something. We're all set.
We're good.
So I have a question. What
There we go.
Somebody who was here on Sunday, what did Kendall cover? How much of-
We talked a lot about the 6 realms of confusion and talking about the 3 lower realms, 3 higher realms. Went over samsara as confusion, and when does confusion arise? And it's based on emptiness. It's based on emptiness, but Buddha nature is based on emptiness too. I mean, that was kind of interesting, like how samsara and nirvana are both empty in essence.
Mm.
And you talked about the pure nature of mind, confusing it with ignorance and being like ignorance is avoidable, but yet it exists all over the place. And to get out of samsara, like working on 10 non-virtues and, recognizing them and then going to the 10 virtues instead of the 10 non-virtues.
Mm. Mm.
That was basically what I got.
Mm. Sounds pretty good. All right.
You go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
and he's going very slowly, like not, it feels like not even, I don't feel like we're into the next stanza yet.
Right. Right.
He's still working out the
Yeah, we're
basic
taking it
fundamentals.
slow, like sentence by sentence.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I like that. That's traditional. So we dedicate the merit from this evening to all motherly sentient beings. May every one of us be sustained in our study of the jewel ornament of liberation. Seek to go deeper and deeper and deeper. May we grasp the true motivation of practicing for the benefit of others until all are free. And may that all include us. Thank you. Svaha. Okay.